You know, authoritarian dictators throughout history have often come to power in democratic societies. You know how it happens? Look around. Look at what's going on in this country right now. This is how it happens. People give in. People obey in advance. That's what you saw yesterday with ABC News paying essentially extortion money to Donald Trump, protection money to a mob boss thug in that settlement of a defamation suit that Donald Trump had absolutely no chance whatsoever of winning. It was an absolutely baseless lawsuit. He wasn't even going to get to trial. He was going to lose on summary judgment. Yet ABC chose to pay him off to settle. Why? Because they think that if they give Donald Trump $15 million, that he will not target them when he takes office. They think it will protect them. That's what this is. It's ABC giving in to a dictator in advance. And you've seen this with Morning Joe and Mika running down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss his butt. You've seen billionaires lining up to kiss his ass. Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Tim Cook, on and on and on, obeying in advance, trying to get on the good side of the authoritarian so that maybe he won't come after them. You've seen it with the Republican Party. Time and again, they could have been rid of this guy. But out of cowardice, thinking, oh, he'll just go away. He's not going to win re-election. We don't have to convict him in the second impeachment trial. At every turn, the people in positions to be able to stop this man have refused to do so because they're cowards.
The liberals are pissed because they believe that ABC shouldn't pay out $15 million to President-elect Trump. But you got to ask them, do they think that there's a reason that the network didn't want a trial? Probably because their defense lawyers probably saw the footage and said, oh man, you're going to pay more if we go to court. Because that's exactly what it looks like to many who are on the outside looking in. And much like the many news outlets that are bleeding viewers, ABC News is trying to save face because this settlement alone is damaging enough to their reputation. But it is the lesser evil given that people will likely forget about it easier at this point. Now, what people don't forget is the fact that George Stephanopoulos cost his news network $15 million. This was after he tried to push the message that Trump was civilly liable for rape, which of course was not the case at all. But of course, liberals believe in the words of guys like George Stephanopoulos, even though the truth will never back up his claims. So this settlement is being seen as a traitorous act, as if they're bowing down to the new king, something that they've also called out Morning Joe and Mika for doing. Now, you guys remember when they had an off-the-record meeting with the president-elect Donald Trump in Mar-a-Lago? A signal of them kissing the ring, as MSNBC is probably going to remove them from air. Watch.
What else, Brian, does this tell us about the president-elect's possible strategy for dealing with the media going forward? We know he's very litigious.
One word comes to mind, the word emboldened. Trump and his team is going to be emboldened by this settlement by ABC, because rather than fight this out any further, rather than trying to go to trial, ABC is choosing to settle. What does that mean? Maybe that means ABC had embarrassing emails or text messages or other material that was going to make the network look bad. Remember, that's one of the reasons why Fox News settled against Dominion last year. Sometimes networks settle because they don't want to drag it out any further and get embarrassed in the court of public opinion. But regardless of ABC's rationale, and they won't say why exactly they've decided to reach this settlement, it will embolden Trump and his allies who, as you've said, have shown they want to use the courts in order to achieve certain outcomes they want. In this case, they believe justice is being done by holding ABC accountable. Others would say this is a form of lawfare where you're using the courts to tie up news outlets and embarrass them and cost them, in this case, millions of dollars. I'm really struck, Jessica, by the dollar figure, by the way, $16 million. That's a lot of money for any news outlet to be paying out. And that's going to have, I think, far-reaching ramifications.
Now, I do want to say that these news networks can definitely just go to trial. They can go there and make their claims. The problem here is that personalities within mainstream liberal media themselves have been emboldened to lie about one person because there really wasn't any downside to it back then. They've been openly lying to us for so long. So for them to say that Trump's coming administration will do this more often is unfounded, unless, of course, they believe that they're doing something wrong or that they're trying to feed us with propaganda and lies lies. So I guess it could explain why Joe and Mika went to Trump first, because they've been on air destroying his reputation for years. And they've also said the same thing as George Stephanopoulos. And like I said, guys, liberals just can't believe that these news networks are bending the knee. On a post on X, Mark Elias said that the ring has been kissed and another legacy news outlet has chosen obedience. And now more journalists are coming out to say that the press is always right, that they exist to criticize whoever it is that they want. And as we've seen this entire presidential race, they made it pretty clear as to who they preferred, which really doesn't match what journalists should be, given the fact that they should be unbiased. You know what I mean? Just deliver the news, the actual truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth, that kind of thing. Yeah, apparently they threw that by the wayside. They should be providing us with the facts and the information that we need. And us as viewers would be able to discern what we think about it. But if we ask Nicole Hannah-Jones, that's the wrong mentality. Watch.
Some of what I predict may be the backlash to this has to come from the public, not just from journalists or that media space. What do you think it's actually going to take before the public starts taking this as serious as it should be?
So I don't ever try to predict the future. I think we can't tell what voters in the public are going to do. But I think what's critical is that the public understands, why does the press exist? Why does the press exist in a free society? Why are we the only profession protected by the First Amendment? It's because the founders, for all their flaws, understood that you cannot have a democracy if you do not have an independent press that can hold power accountable. We exist to inform the public. We exist to serve as a check on power, to be a watchdog. And so when, in fact, an administration is attacking the press, they're attacking the public's right to know. They're attacking the public's right to actually understand the inner workings of government, so we can choose, is this the government we want or not? So we have the ability to fight back against things that we don't agree with or that we think are anti-democratic. So I hope that the public will understand that there's a reason why authoritarians target the media, why they try to discredit the media, and why they threaten the media. They want to make us afraid to do our jobs. They want to make the public not believe what it is that we report when we expose the way that power is being used against us. And I think that we have to be really worried as a press that we are not doing, as Timothy Snyder said, obeying in advance, that we are not getting exhausted, that we are not simply saying, well, Trump lies all the time, so we start to be accepting of those lies as normal. Right. I think that that's why I'm saying we are facing an epic battle, but the public has to be involved in that battle. The public, whether they don't like what we do all the time, whether they don't agree with what we do all the time, they have to understand that they must protect the press if they want to maintain a free society.
Now, I just got to ask the obvious question. Where was all of this during the Biden-Harris administration, right? Because you and I know for a fact that most of these news outlets praised President Biden for almost 4 years. It wasn't until this disastrous debate performance where they finally admitted that they were lying about Biden's cognitive abilities. How do they expect the public to protect them when they won't even give us the truth? And to add to that, they want us to believe everything that they report. That's not something that we can afford to do now, given what we know. But how about you guys? Do you still trust legacy media to have your best interest at heart? Now, speaking of which, do you still trust in people that most of America looked up to before? Musicians like P. Diddy, Sean Diddy Combs, Jay-Z, Sean Carter, perhaps? Now, I covered this in a previous video, guys, where both men are now facing the same charges. Are you surprised to hear about this? Make sure you guys check that video out right after this one. You're not going to believe what an accuser is now saying that Jay-Z and Diddy did. But here's a hint. It is utterly disgusting. As always, appreciate you guys for being here. Definitely check out these videos coming up here next. Thanks so much for hitting the like button and subscribing to the channel. We'll see you guys next time.